Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of You Are Meant for More. I'm your host, Francine, and I'm grateful that you're here. I am definitely going to be sharing a lot of my heart, a lot of perspective of what's been happening over the last week. My apologies for not being here live with you all last week. It was just really heavy on my heart, and we are counting down to this conference, which is going to be so impactful. And I encourage you all to come and participate. Did I not share it? I don't think I did. Let me do that background. There we go. I put the old background. And I encourage you all to register. If you, like me, know that we need Jesus more than anything and we need to stay connected, then come join. We're going to do a big prayer for our world, for the light to overcome darkness, for people to move and know that God is with them every step of the way. And I put together notes tonight, you guys, but I prayed right before and I told God, just give me the words, give me the strength, the guidance to go through this show with you all. And yesterday I did an event. It was a networking event at the Boss Ladies Mixer, and I shared a lot of my heart. And who knew that all of the speakers were women of faith, and we just shared our hearts and how we've evolved into business owners and the different types of challenges that we had to go through. And it wasn't until we surrendered that everything became clear to us. So our hope and our mission is to make sure that every single person understands the love, the joy, the compassion that God has for your life, because there is no other way. Believe me, I've tried. And I'll share a little bit about my own story as well if you haven't heard already. So let's dive in. I am going to pull up my notes just in case there was something specific that I really wanted to touch in on. But I want you all to know, you know what? We're going to pray. We are going to pray opening this show up. Lord, I come to you with so much guidance, so much direction of love and support for the people that I'm going to talk to today, whether they're catching it live or whether they're catching it on replay. Just be with me, connect with them, open their hearts to what it is you have for them, their purpose, their journey. You are the author, and just guide them to surrender so that you can be sovereign with them in their place, wherever it is that they are struggling, because you are sovereign and you're going to be the person that is going to lead us out of this division. You are going to be the only person that we come to when there's so much pain in the world, which there is, and you're going to guide us every step of the way through. So whether we touch 1, 2, 3, 10, or 100 people, I want it to be through you, Lord. Everything that I do, everything, how I move, how I speak is all through you. And I'm here for it. And I'm sorry. I was so afraid to do this, but we're doing this and we're going to do it together. And I'm praying for all the people that are watching and all those that definitely need your message and need to be guided by you. So stick with us through this episode, and we give all our love to you, Lord, and we lift every single person up who's struggling up to you in prayer, Lord. And we're here with them every single step of the way. It's in your precious name we pray, Jesus. Amen. You guys, do you know how hard it is, or how hard it was for me to pray in public, for me to pray around people, for me to pray on a show that is going to stay here evergreen for years and years to come? I wasn't this person before. I wasn't this person years ago to do something like this. And so for me to show up in a space of real and authenticity and transparency, to share my heart and my soul of like all the struggles that I've had before turning to God and just saying, I surrender, just take it. I'm done trying to control this life. And this is why so much has happened over the last several days with the assassination of Charlie Kirk. I want to dive into this because so many people are divided. And I have nothing but love for people. I really do. And I remember speaking, it was a couple years back when I jumped into entrepreneurship, and I remember talking to one of my colleagues at the time, and I was just like, I want to know why I love on people so much. Like, where is this coming from? And again, not that it was a bad thing, but where is this coming from? What place is this coming from? And I remember without a doubt, she's like, because you're a child of God. And I just knew right there, I had a calling, I had a purpose. And the thing is, He put us here. He put all of us here for a purpose. It is our calling to serve others, it's our calling to be there for one another. And so I want to dive into this topic because so many people are just angry. I mean, you got one side saying one thing and another side saying another thing. And it's like, first of all, this is where my heart spoke when things started to happen. The reason why my heart was so heavy, and it's, you know, a lot of people said it's because you're siding with racist people. No. The reason my heart was so heavy is because we've lost humanity. We've lost the will and our heart to have that for other people. To when somebody dies, you don't celebrate it. I mean, it was never meant for us to be excited for somebody else's death. It was always we always came from a place of compassion and love and empathy, but because of our circumstances and the people who were around us that raised us and their beliefs and their emotions, every single incident that you experienced growing up has molded you to be the person you are today. So who do you get to be? Someone that comes from love and compassion, or somebody that comes from hate and anger? And what I saw was so much hate and anger. Nobody's right. You know, he was just a reflection of what people are dealing with internally. And that's why my heart was so heavy, because God had kept telling me that I need to bring the people out of suffering. And I just laughed like, no. And I did. I ran from him for so long. And I was telling him, like, no, I'm like, they will not listen. And he said, you don't listen. And I was like, ooh, I felt that. And the thing is, he wants us to be able to be together, to have compassion from one another, to be in community with each other, to uplift, to inspire. It's all in the Bible. It talks about how, you know, to help the orphans and to help the widows and things like that. Like, we were meant to have a compassionate heart. But what happens is we are humans of this world, but we are also spiritual beings of his world. And he gives us free will to make the choice. What decisions are you going to make? What side are you going to be on? He wants so much joy and peace and love for your life. And that's what I get to experience that every single day. I do. And the thing is, like, that's why my heart aches so much, because there's so many people that don't know God's love in the way it was meant to be shared. And it's heartbreaking. Now, that's where, this, the situation with the assassination of Charlie Kirk came up, because I started to reflect as an NLP coach. and, transformational confidence coach, I started to really dive into the time when I worked on my emotions, because it's all about emotional regulation, how you are able to control your emotions and feelings. So when you hear something and somebody says something, you don't have a reaction, but you have a thought process first. So you know the saying, uh, I'm sorry, I'm going to lose the saying right now. It's instead of, oh my goodness, I use it all the time and all of a sudden it's not coming back to me. But you need to reflect before you respond. You have to reflect before you respond. Because what's happening is when somebody triggers you, your first instinct is to respond. That's how we all do it. It's what we were taught, it's what our body knows. But when you come from a place of peace and joy and love, then you actually decide that you're going to reflect and then respond. Think about it. There's so many angry people out there. And the thing is, like, I've talked to both sides. I've heard their emotions, I've heard their feelings, and I've done my best to talk to both sides in their own situations, because again, it's all perspective. So the way you see something or you hear something is not the same way as somebody else is going to see and hear it. And that's why everyone's so angry, is because it was an open dialogue conversation. I didn't know him well. I knew of him. And he was talking to a lot of millennials who have a lot of emotions, and how reflection and respond, not reflection, but they respond right away, very angry. And the thing is, I saw a lot of his context of what he was saying, and I personally didn't see him to be racist. I saw all of the messages that were put out there, but when I went back and saw the full interview, he was making a point. He was proving a point. And, but again, that's the way I see it. Now, granted, maybe there's something out there that he said that I missed. Maybe. But bottom line is, I'm not going to put somebody out there and completely talk bad upon them. I don't know his story. I don't know the situation, because it's coming from a reflection of what you're dealing with internally. So if you're like, he's racist, he's this, he's that, he's this awful person, we speak what we have within. And so I invite you to really just sit with it. Why does he make you feel a certain way? Why is it triggering you so much? And it's usually because the emotions that you're feeling stem from something within that you're still holding on to. And that's what we do. We hold on to these emotions, these pain emotions, whether it's anger, sadness, fear, hurt, and guilt. I'm low, aren't I? I just realized what I did. I just realized what I did. Yep. I wonder if you guys were even able to hear me. Okay. Can you hear me okay? Was I coming through okay? Will, I see you there. Yeah. Bene, bene, bene. Okay, stunning and shaming someone can lead to more problems. Yes, 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 yes. Were you able to hear me, or did you just jump in? Because I realized my microphone was far away from me, and I pray that you guys heard my message. I wasn't sure. Let me see if people are messaging me to let me know that they can't hear me. No, I think we're good. I hope it came through. Do I sound okay? Okay, loud and clear. Okay. I have the mic now, so I'm loud and clear now, but I hope you guys were able to hear me previously. I'll have to go back and listen, or you guys will have to turn up that volume and play it back. Okay, so as I was saying, thank you so much, Will. Loud and clear. Okay. All right, let me head to my notes, you guys, because again, I had to share my heart. But really quick, too, let's go back to, if you guys aren't familiar with the timeline of your body. So the first time you ever experience anger, sadness, fear, hurt, and guilt, it happens. Your body keeps count, it keeps score. So if you experienced it when you were 5, then 7, 8, I mean, we all experienced it, right? So imagine how much it's magnetized now at your current age. So whenever you experience the anger or the fear or the sadness or the shame or the guilt, anytime you experience it, it's going to be magnetized because you know that feeling. Your body knows the feeling. That's what I'm talking about as far as emotional regulation. So if you're able to work through and process what it is that's keeping you feeling these feelings, then you start to just release. And then when you go through a whole process of forgiveness and forgiving yourself and forgiving the people that hurt you, it just, your body becomes lighter. And that's why I want to share the passion that I have for transforming lives. That's what I do, why I do what I do. That's what my mission is. And who knew it was going to come to this? All I knew is I loved helping people. And then taking it to this level was even better, because when I studied NLP, I wanted to dive into the psychology of why the human brain, why people do the things they do, why they act a certain way, why they respond a certain way. And then you come to find out that it's past programming from whoever raised them, whoever was their mentors, whoever was their guardians, their parents, their teachers, the friends that they hung out with. Their body keeps score of like what is their reality. So when you start to argue with people and you start to have differences of opinions, understand that they have a different roadmap than you. They understand things differently than the way you see them. And a lot of people that have done that personal development work and really grown into mastering their emotions, things like this don't hit them. It doesn't affect them the way that other people would deal with that type of emotion. And it's funny because recently I've been thinking, if you were to go back and think of all of the people out there that are movie stars and TV personalities and things like that, and you think about what they can and can't say on TV or on their show, because they're being not manipulated per se, but they're being censored. They're being censored as to what they can and can't say. So they keep it very PG, so it's there for everyone. And I love the fact that I get to have my own show on a network that doesn't censor anything that I believe in. And that's profound. And literally a few minutes ago, before my show started, I opened up Instagram because I was promoting my show, and I saw that they canceled the Jimmy Kimmel live show because of some words he said. Now, he may have been stepping out in his own way of sharing his emotions about the events surrounding the Charlie Kirk assassination, but it wasn't what the network wanted to hear and what they wanted to stream anymore. So his show was canceled. I just saw that. I was like, wow. People are starting to say things and step up into their own, with their own voice. And that's why, as a coach, too, I'm going to be launching a show. I keep saying I'm going to be launching it. It's coming. I promise you guys. Just so much going on. It's going to be called Amplify Your Voice. Amplify your voice so that you can change lives and you can make an impact. Okay. And I know I've probably been all over the place with this, but it's like I said, I prayed in the beginning. It was on my heart to share what's been happening and why so many faith-based people have been just shattered. Not a lot of us had the courage to do what Charlie Kirk did and step out in boldness to talk about faith. That's where I'm coming from as far as that perspective. And I knew it was something that God called me to do. So yes. Sorry, Will. I just saw your message. You said even from a distance I was able to. You were able to what? Sorry. I'm like, sorry. my shirt is falling. Okay. Let me go ahead and go into notes. Okay. So social media, the people that are talking, everyone's feeling the pain, right? I see people hurting, lashing out, pointing fingers, building walls instead of bridges. And I get it because I've done that. I've been there. We're living in these unprecedented times. And I just want to make sure that you guys all know that we're here for a reason. We're here to support one another. We're dealing with the political division, social unrest, economic uncertainty, and so much more. It feels like everywhere we turn, there's something else to be angry about. But here's what I've learned from my own journey with depression. So through my work as an NLP certified master coach and through my faith, anger is often just grief in disguise. It's pain that doesn't know how to express itself. It's fear that's basically wearing a mask. So think about it. When a child is scared, what do they often do? They might lash out, throw a tantrum, or become defiant. It's not because they're bad. It's because they don't have the emotional tools to process what they're feeling. So let's reflect on that. Do we as adults have the emotional tools to reflect what we're feeling? That's an honest question, you guys. Oh, thank you, Will. I appreciate you. Even from a distance. So my microphone, I'm assuming that we're talking about. I'm trying to find the perpetrator. Trying to find the perpetrator. Oh man, I don't know what that reference is, but you're being silly. Thank you. Um, so yeah, I want people to reflect on that question. Is do you have the emotion? You have the tool belt that is going to manage your emotions, like children don't. But do we as adults? I think we can handle them to an extent, but there's still a lot of adults out there that don't know how to handle it. They get angry really quick. And like I said, a lot of adults are in the same place right now. We're scared, we're hurting, and we don't know how to regulate our emotions in a healthy way. Okay. The truth is, our country, our world is grieving. They're grieving the loss of safety, the loss of unity, the loss of trust. And when we don't know how to process grief, it often becomes anger. That's what it is. So let's talk about emotional regulation, because this is where the real work happens. This is where it all begins. Emotional regulation isn't about suppressing your feelings or pretending everything's okay. It's about learning to feel your feelings without letting them control your actions. It's about creating space between what happens to you and how you respond. So earlier I talked about reacting versus responding. Yeah, that's what it was so funny. I couldn't remember that phrase. I'm like, do you remember that phrase? Reacting versus responding. So you got to reflect and like, if somebody says something to you that triggers you, are you going to react right away? Or are you going to actually sit back and like listen and be like, okay, and then respond? Like when I personally get mad, I shut down. I shut down, like completely shut down, and I stay quiet and I process. I process my emotions, I process my thoughts because I'm not going to respond right away. I'm not going to react. I'm not going to react right away, I should say. And then I go through that process. And then eventually, when I'm ready, I'll speak. It's just something that I've learned to control and show up in a space of just clarity versus confusion so that my partner knows that I need that space. And then we can talk. Okay. So here's what happens in our brains when we get triggered. Our trust, we're all getting triggered a lot these days. Our amygdala, that little alarm system in our brain, goes off. It's like a smoke detector that can't tell the difference between burnt toast and real fire. When we see something that threatens our beliefs, our safety, our identity, that alarm goes off and we go into fight and flight or freeze mode. Yep. You know, some people, like I said, some people responded, they wanted to fight. Some people flight, they just took off, they didn't even care, they didn't want to pay attention. And some people froze and just like sat in grief. So there's a lot of emotions going around. And in that state, we're not thinking clearly. We're not responding from love. We're reacting from fear. But here's the beautiful thing. We actually have a choice. Yeah, we have a choice. So I want to share in Ephesians 4:31-32. Paul tells us, get rid. I'm going to highlight it, you guys, because I want to drop it in the chat for you guys to see. Or I want to drop it in our notes so that I can pull it up. So when you guys are catching this on replay, you can see it as well. Sound good? All right. And this is Ephesians. Let me make sure I got it right. Ephesians 4:31-32. 4. Sorry, you guys. 31:31-32. Okay. Here we go. Okay. So get rid of all bitterness, rage, and anger, brawling and slander, along with every form of malice. Be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other just as Christ God forgave you. So that's Ephesians 4:31-32. That's so powerful, you guys. These things are in the Bible and not a lot of people want to go and look. So now I'm not saying this is easy because trust me, I know it's not, but it is possible. I fought with God on so many levels, and I shared a little bit of my story last night, and I'll share more at the conference. But here are 3 practical steps you can take right now and start regulating your emotions. You guys got your notepads, your pens, grab your phones, take notes. I usually like grab my notes section on my phone and I'll open it up and I'll just be like, all right, let's type it out. So do whatever you can. But I'm going to give you these 3. The sacred pause. When you feel that anger rising, when you want to fire back, that comment on social media, when you want to argue with your neighbor, pause. Take 3 deep breaths, count to 10. Give yourself that sacred space. Step 2, name it to tame it. Ask yourself, what am I really feeling right now? Is it anger? Is it fear? Is it disappointment? Is it grief? When we can name our emotions, we can start to work with them instead of being controlled by them. Step 3, choose your response. This is where your power lies. You get to choose how you respond. You can choose to react from anger, or you can choose to respond from love. You can choose to add fuel to the fire, or you can choose to be water that calms the flames. You have total control of how you respond. And this is why it's so important to respond to respond versus react, right? So you want to be able to sit back and know that you are going to come from a place of peace, okay? Now I want to talk to you about love, real love. Not the fluffy, everything is perfect kind of love, but the kind of love that sees pain and chooses compassion. The kind of love that sees division and chooses to build bridges. You know, that Jesus gave me the greatest commandment in Matthew 22:37-39. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and soul. With all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. So you guys, love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. I'm telling you, it's going to change your life. Love your neighbor as yourself, not just the neighbors who think like you, vote like you, or look like you. All of your neighbors. But here's what I've learned: what we can't love others well if we don't love ourselves well. Ding, ding, ding. This is where I open up my coaching. This is where I talk to people about if there's something that you're expressing outward, it's because you're dealing with it inward. And this is where I lose a lot of people. I reached out to a beautiful girl yesterday at the event because God was calling me to talk to her. And when I tried to share some information with her to look, she was very heavy because she was just like, a lot of people are just loving on a man who was so racist. And I tried to expressly share with her some love and compassion that that's not what it's about. And she ended up blocking me from social media. And that's okay. It's not her time. But God wanted me to speak to her. And the thing is, if God wants me to speak to you or to anyone, and if that's somebody coming, if somebody comes to you with a word from God, receive it, reflect on it, because he's going to start speaking to you. And I even told her, I said, hey, when he starts to speak to you, let me know. It's going to be life-changing. There's a purpose he has for you. And it was so funny because I was so drawn to this one girl throughout the whole event. And I was like, anytime that happens, I go up there and I speak to them because I already know that God's pushing me there. And so I just encourage you, talk to everyone, come from a place of love. So like I said, we can't love others well if we don't love ourselves as well. We can't give what we don't have. So the work starts with us. And I'll be honest with you, there have been times in my own life where I've responded from anger instead of love. Times when I've let my emotions get the best of me. Times when I said things I regret and reacted in ways that didn't reflect who I am or who I really was and am today. But you know what I've learned? Every time I chose love over anger, every time I chose understanding over judgment, every time I chose to see the humanity in someone else, even when they can't see mine, something shifts, not just in them, but in me. Because love isn't weakness. Love is the strongest force in the universe. Love changes hearts. Love heals wounds. Love builds bridges where there were once walls. And in 1 John 4:7-8 says, we're reminded, dear friends, let us love one another, for love comes from God. Everyone who loves has been born of God and knows God. Whoever does not love does not know God, because God is love. God is love. When we choose love, we're aligning ourselves with the very nature of God. And that's where the power is. That's where like the force within you is. And that's why it reflects back to my story earlier where I said I had no idea why I loved on people so much. Like, who was I? And it was like my friend that said, it's because you're a child of God. And I was just blown away, because it's the type of love like I wanted to share. Jesus is love. And when people used to talk bad and down to me about Jesus, about God, about the Bible, I just had compassion and love for them. I didn't have anger. I just wish they knew the love that I knew. And that's what I want to share. And that's the reason why I speak. And that's the reason why I'm here, to share this message of love with you all. And this brings me to one of my favorite verses, which is Matthew 5:14. You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. You are the light of the world, not might be, not could be. You are. Right now in this moment, with all your imperfections, struggles, fears, you are the light. But here's the thing about light. It doesn't fight the darkness. It doesn't argue with the darkness or try to convince the darkness to change. Light simply shines, and darkness has no choice but to flee. So how do we shine our light in a world that feels so dark? First, we guard our hearts. From Proverbs 4:23, it says, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. We have to be intentional about what we're consuming. The news, social media, conversations. We have to feed our souls with truth, with hope, with love. Second, we speak life. Our words have power. Instead of adding to the negativity, we can choose to speak words of hope, encouragement, and love. We can choose to see the good in people, even when it's hard to find. And third, we show up with compassion. When someone is angry, when someone is hurting, when someone is lashing out, we can choose to see their pain instead of their behavior. We can choose to respond with compassion instead of condemnation. I want to challenge you this week. When you encounter someone who's angry, someone who disagrees with you, someone who's hurting instead of getting defensive or fighting back, just try this. Take a deep breath. Look for the pain and respond with love. It might sound like, I can see you're really hurting right now. I may not understand your perspective completely, but I want to. Or, I hear how passionate you are about this. Help me understand what's driving that passion. Or simply, I'm sorry you're going through this. How can I support you? I want to leave you with this truth. You have more power than you realize. You have the power to choose love over anger. You have the power to be the light in the darkness. You have the power to heal our world, one interaction at a time. It starts with you. It starts with your heart. It starts with your choice to see others through the eyes of love instead of anger. And my final encouragement is Romans 12:21. Reminds us, do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. Don't let the anger and the division of the world overcome you. Instead, overcome it with good. Overcome it with love. Overcome it with light. You were meant for more than living in anger and fear. You are meant to be a beacon of hope in a hurting world. You are meant to love well, to shine bright, and to help others find their way back to peace. So go out there and be the light. The world needs your light now more than ever. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for being with me today, whether you're joining live or you're catching this replay. And if this message touched your heart, please share it with someone who needs it, because we all need that support. And if you're ready to dive into transforming this mindset and stepping into your fullness of who you were meant to be, I'd love to connect with you. You can book a session with me at francineayala.com/meant for more. And I'll help guide you through this process. Let's discover together how you can turn your pain into power and your fear into faith. Sound good? Let me see if you guys have any questions. I think you're good. All right, cool. Until next time, keep shining your light, beautiful souls. The world needs what you have to offer. This is Francine Ayala. And remember, you were meant for more, and I want to see you shine your light on the world to come. Okay, I'm going to leave how you can contact me as we go out. But thank you, and I will see you guys next week. Don't forget, this way. Don't forget to register for the conference. It's next Saturday, September 27th. We will see you guys there. It's going to be a beautiful event. We have a DJ coming. It's all the vibes. And I can't wait to be with you all in prayer as we lift up this world with so much love. So thanks again for being here. Love you guys. Take care.
I want to get to know what you do, what inspires you, what you enjoy. My ability to lead really impacts women on a larger level because not every woman has the same story or the same journey. So understanding where they've come from and where they want to go helps me be the leader that I can so that I can show up in a space of authenticity for them.